Welcome to the lesson on drawing the breasts. Now, when we think about breasts, one of the key differentiators with breasts is that unlike all the other forms that we've done so far, breasts don't have a bone structure to them. They're very soft and they're very malleable to an extent. But the basic form that we want to use is really just a spherical type of shape, at least to start with. And then when we bring it into a dynamic sense, we kind of want to bend it down where it has more of an egg-like shape, if you will. Right, more of an egg-like shape. I'm drawing these contour lines on top of it here, on top of this form here, just so we can get a feeling for its form. And even if we rotated this particular form, it would very much be similar to an egg. But due to how malleable the breasts are and how soft they are, when they fall onto a surface, such as the chest, they tend to flatten out at the bottom where they touch that flat surface and have this type of appearance where we've got these curves that then kind of flatten out here. I'm just going to over enhance it here, that they really flatten out. So a good way to think about breasts when you're drawing them is to kind of imagine them as if they were water balloons to some extent, and the way that a water balloon might react when a hard surface is pushed against it or it is resting on a hard surface, like the breasts rest on the chest. So now that we have this basic, very basic understanding of the form, let's look at some techniques of adding the breasts on top of our basic chest shape. So here is our dynamic chest section. We'll just draw through these sections as well, just so we can feel that form out nicely. And put a centered line down, which can definitely guide us. Now, in terms of human anatomy, the clavicle connects here, and the clavicle is really the collarbone, which would extend out underneath the skin surface off onto joining the scapula and then connecting to the arms and so forth. And the clavicle has this little indentation in your neck, which you can feel. If you put your fingers just below your neck, you can actually feel where your collarbone joins. And it just so happens that this is a great location to start mapping out where you want to put the breasts. Remembering their form and also remembering that they're going to flatten on one side. So in order to map the breasts out, also remembering your anatomy and your proportions, also remembering your proportions, you want to draw those shapes in and those 3D forms in and then kind of flatten them out and imagine the form coming down here as well and have it kind of flatten out. On the near side breast, we don't see the flattening as much. Something to remember, however, is that in terms of musculature, the breasts do not actually connect. We would never draw a line down connecting the breasts from that point, because in terms of musculature, the breasts are part of the pectoral muscles, and the pectoral muscles tend to, at the sides, bend out and tuck in underneath the deltoid, right, which is the shoulder muscle. So it's important to know that while we want to have this form here, and certainly if we did some contour lines, we'd have this type of shape happening, just know that the muscle does curve out and up as it goes underneath the shoulder muscle. You generally don't see it that much in a 3/4 angle on the far side of the far side breast, but you do see this flattening effect. And technically speaking, its lines would fold underneath the shoulder on that side. And that is effectively how you draw breasts on the form. Remember the malleable nature of it and the water balloon type of shape. And what happens when we lay that water balloon down on a surface that is flat, it's kind of going to get flat on that one side. Think about it like that. And a good way to also remember laying it out onto the chest is using that clavicle indentation, and you can see it almost makes a heart shape, which is a good way of at least helping you figure out where exactly to place them and remembering the actual contour of the forms as you place them on the chest. Alright, so that's just a basic guide on how to place the breasts and the basic forms of the breast. The sphere that we're kind of stretching out to this shape, and once again, we don't want to forget how malleable the breasts are and how soft the breasts are and how they're affected by gravity. So as a basic form, those are the breasts. Let's move on.